and more. With no waiting rooms, no referrals, and no copays. Dr. Radio, Sirius XM Channel 110.
To hear Dr. Radio, activate your radio now. Call 844-711-8800 or go to SiriusXM.com/go to sign up quickly.
Amazing moments happen so much at SiriusXM. We want you to see them. SiriusXM Video lets you watch your favorite SiriusXM shows on the SiriusXM app. Groundbreaking interviews, amazing in-show moments, behind-the-scenes footage, live performances, all come to life in a way you only imagined before. Plus, you can create your own personalized Pandora station based on the artists you love. And hear over 100 extra channels filled with ad-free music for every mood or occasion. Get your first 6 months of our Platinum plan for only $8.33 per month, plus fees and taxes. Just call 844-711-8800 to take advantage of this amazing offer.
With the SiriusXM Platinum VIP plan, you can unlock the ultimate listening experience in up to 2 cars and stream anywhere with 2 app logins. Enjoy our greatest content, opportunities for live VIP experiences, and prioritized customer care. Plus, get access to over 5,000 audio and video concert recordings through nugs.net. Call 844-711-8800 and become a VIP. Offer details apply. Not available in Canada.
The whole-out eagle at the first for Scotty Scheffler.
A course as challenging as it is historic awaits the best in golf as they compete for our national championship.
So hard to get the ball up and down. That's the thing that makes this golf course so difficult.
SiriusXM's exclusive coverage of the U.S. Open, live from Pinehurst Country Club, begins tomorrow morning at 7 Eastern on Channel 92 in the car and the all-new SiriusXM app.
There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, I see.
If you've been thinking about buying a home, you need to be in the zone, the home buying zone. You need a game plan to win in this great real estate market. The Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage has all your bases covered. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing your dream home, refinancing, consolidating debt, or even considering a reverse mortgage, contact the Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage today. They have the lowest closing costs, and they'll close your loan on time, guaranteed, or they'll pay your first mortgage payment. And they even have a 3.5% purchase down payment grant that can get you into a home with little money out of your pocket. It doesn't get more clutch than that, folks. Score big on the biggest purchase of your life. Call Equity Zone Mortgage today at 1-800-772-8624. That's 1-800-772-8624. Or apply online at equityzonemortgage.com and tell them Big C sent you as heard on the Big C Sports Podcast. License number 01814-868.
Grando Deportes, Bonjour, Vidi Vidi Vici. Let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to me and people who love sports and reparations. Reparations now, reparations forever. And that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. What a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be mine? Won't you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Shut up! Oh, you know it's big up this morning. As I've told many people, I get up early in the morning to shout for reparations, and some people don't appreciate that I'm waking them up. But that's their fault, not mine. Like Radio Raheem said, wake up! You gotta wake up. If you don't know me by now, what a Two Live Crew sang in that song. He said, if you don't know me by now, if you don't know, you will never, never, never know me. That's not Two Live Crew. Well, whoever it was, that's how I feel about reparations. If you don't know about reparations by now, if you don't know, you will never, never, never know me. Reparations now, reparations forever. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. Man, I can see why my neighbors don't like me. I'm flying a reparations flag along with the American flag. And some people are confused. They say, you're scaring people. What does that black fist mean? I said reparations now, reparations forever. That's what it means. It kind of confuses people. It shouldn't confuse anybody. Oh, Lord have mercy. Maybe I can see if you don't read, you might be confused. At the same time, I want to say I really do appreciate doing Big C Sports Podcast. As I always say, I produce the show, I direct the topics, I broadcast all the shows, I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We could all use more laughter in our lives, and that's why I'm flying a reparations flag in the neighborhood. And I hope somebody doesn't steal it. I hope nobody steals it. That's the black fist. And then the commercials are done. The stats are provided, the storytelling. I even do the play-by-play. Luka dodges 4-3. Yes, in the hole in your life. The great Kyrie Irving 4-3. Yes, in the hole in your life. You know, they said that Kristaps Porzingis is out of the game tonight. And obviously got some news to talk about the passing of NBA Hall of Fame great Jerry West. He's the one with the logo on every jersey of an NBA player's basketball uniform. And so thoughts and prayers to the Jerry West family. And 86 years old is a good life, but it's still thoughts and prayers to the Jerry West family and also the NBA family. And I think that family right now for the NBA, they've been talking about the loss of NBA great Jerry West. Just lost the great Bill Walton about 2 weeks ago. He was only 71 years old, 15 years younger than Jerry West, but both of them at the time, at their apex in life, Jerry West, a 10-time first-team All-Pro in the NBA, and then a champion with the Lakers, played many times against the Boston Celtics, and of course Bill Walton played on the UCLA team that had the 88-game win streak, and then won a championship with the Portland Trailblazers, also with the Boston Celtics. So those two players during the NBA Finals, it's just odd that it happened. There's a you know, I follow something called gematria, where some people don't believe in gematria, but it makes you go all's fair in love and war, it makes you go But I do want to talk about that too. I'll talk about Jerry West. And then the show's uploaded to 29 podcast platforms out of New York City, and they're streaming on 4 TV platforms: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon and Fire TV. And I want to say I never missed a show since starting Big C Sports with the crew back in the days at Salem Media. And you can give that some praise. Now we have people who miss practice. I'm not talking about the game. I'm talking about practice. You want to crown them. The late, great Dennis Green. You want to crown them. And I love crowning reparations. Oh, I gotta share something that came up yesterday. You know, sometimes God aligns you with the universe on a similar moment in the history of the United States of America. What do they say? One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. The Apollo moon landing. But I heard it again yesterday. What'd you hear yesterday, Big C? I heard one small step for California, one giant leap for reparations now, reparations forever. You can't deny what happened yesterday. There's a lot of things that happened yesterday in this country for reparations. And for people that don't understand it, you gotta just take your blinders off and realize there are a lot of people that are gonna do the right thing by this country when it comes to reparations. And for a Big C Sports Podcast, I want to make sure that I'm one of them. I love talking about sports. I'm going to talk about the NBA Finals tonight. I got Dallas winning tonight because they took Kristaps Porzingis out. I know the NBA, they don't want to have a sweep. That's just my cynical. Big C, there you go again, talking about sweeps. Well, I know they don't want to have a sweep. But I may be wrong. I've been wrong before. But Dallas is going to win tonight because they don't want to sweep. There's too much TV revenue they would lose. And that's why they took out the guy that they couldn't stop. Kristaps Porzingis 4-3. Yes, get the hole in your life. That good boy was doing his thing. And everybody knows there's a lot going on in this world of sports. And I just want to make sure that no matter what happens, I love doing both. I love honoring sports, and I love honoring reparations. I do want to say at the same time, and not only that, I want to say I love paying homage to the Veterans Crisis Hotline. They really are experienced. Helping veterans and their loved ones can help you know anybody going through issues. Pick up the phone and call 800-273-8255. 8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give us some praise because we all need somebody to lean on. And it's nice tapping a touchdown, home run, 3-point play. Old man Willie, he's going all the way. But our veterans, they want to go all the way too, and they need help. That's why I love championing the Veterans Crisis Hotline. I really do appreciate that. That's my story, and I'm getting in with it. You know, I want to say also thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said, reparations now, reparations forever. And then he asked for praise. And then it's praise, praise, praise. Actually, some of my pastor friends, they don't like it because they take themselves too serious. God said, let there be light. And it's okay to have light. You just shine light on the subject. And I love shining light on the subject. Before I get into my show today, I want to play something that happened yesterday at the assembly. It was somebody came for a red wedding. You know what a red wedding is? Google it. There's a lot of mayhem at a red wedding. You don't want to wear red at a wedding, but somebody wore red at a red wedding. I want to tell you something. I want to play this because if you hear it with your own two eyes and your own two ears, how do you hear with your own two eyes, Big C? Well, it's a metaphor. Metaphorically speaking, you can see and hear things. It's better when you see what you're hearing and you hear what you're seeing. You can't misunderstand. You have to try to understand a red wedding. I think we had a red wedding yesterday, but it was so polite, sometimes you miss it. And I want to say that there are times when people don't understand what a red wedding is. But I'm going to let you hear one with your own two eyes and your own two ears.
Cost of the harms make this minuscule based on the debt and harm that was created through slavery.
Economists, consultants from the task force reported the total amount could be as much as $800 billion. It is fundamentally unfair to force these people to pay for this, and because of that, I will be opposing today.
Yeah, I just want to thank our Republican colleagues for coming to committee today. After boycotting the previous committee, it's really important to go on the record and formally oppose reparations, so I want to thank them for doing so.
We were at every single moment of every single hearing. The task force did not, and the comments of the task force did not say that the state should pay $800 billion. The task force economists said that the state of California stole $800 billion in wealth from the descendants. That is what the state stole from us. Now it's up to this legislature to decide what the bill is, but your comments are incorrect.
You know, sometimes
the harms
sometimes you got to hear it
minuscule based on the debt and harm that was created through slavery.
Economists, consultants from the task force reported the total amount could be as much as $800 billion. It is fundamentally unfair to force these people to pay for this, and because of that, I will be opposing today.
Yeah, I just want to thank our Republican colleagues for coming to committee today. After boycotting the previous committee, it's really important to go on the record and formally oppose reparations, so I want to thank them for doing so.
We were at every single moment of every single hearing. The task force did not, and the comments of the task force did not say that the state should pay $800 billion. The task force economists said that the state of California stole $800 billion in wealth from the descendants. That is what the state stole from us. Now it's up to this legislature to decide what the bill is, but your comments are incorrect.
Sometimes you got to hear it 3 times.
The task force reported the total amount could be as much as $800 billion. It is fundamentally unfair to force these people to pay for this, and because of that, I will be opposing today.
Yeah, I just want to thank our Republican colleagues for coming to committee today. After boycotting the previous committee, it's really important to go on the record and formally oppose reparations, so I want to thank them for doing so.
We were at every single moment of every single hearing. The task force did not, and the comments of the task force did not say that the state should pay $800 billion. The task force economists said that the state of California stole $800 billion in wealth from the descendants. That is what the state stole from us. Now it's up to this legislature to decide what the bill is, but your comments are incorrect.
when you hear, I had to play it 3 times. Sometimes you ever want thirds? If you ever have something that tastes so good, you say, I want some more. I had to play it 3 times because that was at the Assembly of the State of California hearing yesterday. And there's a lady by the name, I just want to call her Red Wedding. Last name is Sanchez, but I want to call her Red Wedding. And not only when Senator Bradford spoke like Moses, and she had the audacity to come on and say that she doesn't believe that we should have to pay taxpayer dollars. And that California's going to have to pay $800 billion for. And then Mr. Chris Lodges came on as eloquently and showed the facts. He said, no, the state stole $800 billion. And for someone like Sanchez, who called herself an immigrant to the United States, with her spitting such erroneous facts, how did she get the job? I'm not being facetious. I'm saying for someone that sits at the state assembly and to spit facts, erroneous facts. Erroneous, either she's not doing her homework or she's intentionally misleading the people. Because the state stole over $800 billion from the descendants of chattel slavery. That's what the economists have said. You know, if you steal something, you should give it back. So how does she get the job? Seriously. Here she is entrusted by the state of California to make decisions on what happens with law. Not only has she not read the 1,065 pages of the Reparations Task Force, she stood there in a red dress and was bragging about being ignorant. How did she get the job? Is anyone going to do an audit on how did she get her job? She talked about being an immigrant. I wonder if she even knows what the Homestead Act is. Standing on the back of the bus after African Americans, descendants of chattel slavery, marched for civil rights. We heard about the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the Edmund Pettus Bridge, Rosa Parks taking a seat, not giving up her seat to a white man. Oh, we shouldn't have to pay anything because I'm an immigrant and I came here and I pulled myself up by my bootstrap. Without black Americans, African Americans marching for civil rights, we would still be in Jim Crow. Her culture didn't do it. I said her culture did not march for civil rights. No, they showed up once civil rights were passed and they stepped to the front of the line. You ever cut to the front of the line at a red wedding? And Senator Bradford, as eloquent as he is, one of the best senators in the history of this country, and he speaks about the facts. A 1,065-page documentation of facts that's been helped put together by the Secretary of State of California, Shirley Weber, the inimitable Shirley Weber, Dr. Shirley Weber, and then also signed off by California Governor Gavin Newsom. How did Sanchez get her job? Really? Has anyone done an audit on her decisions that she's voted on and she doesn't know what she's talking about? She's wrong. You're scaring people. If I'm scaring people by pointing out the facts, how in the world did she get her job? And I'm so serious. How did she get her job? Has anyone looked at her resume? How did she go against the Secretary of the State of California, Shirley Weber, Dr. Shirley Weber, the Governor of California, Gavin Newsom, the #1 Senator of the United States, Senator Stephen Bradford, in the Reparations Task Force, the first in the nation? How did this person that says she's an immigrant, that did not march for civil rights, how does she get on back of the bus and start saying the people that may open the opportunity for me, you don't deserve anything? And I'm not even being facetious. How did she get her job? As intellectually vapid as she sounds, in her red dress, saying no to the inimitable Dr. Shirley Weber, Secretary of State of California, California Senator Stephen Bradford, the 9-member California Reparations Task Force, the first in the nation to approve reparations. through the Senate, through Senate Bill 1331, 1403, and 1050, now through the Assembly got passed. How does she, who calls herself an immigrant, how'd she get the position? How's the state of California paying her? Seriously, who's doing the audit on her?
Well, I don't believe that Dr. Shirley Repper and Governor Gavin Newsom and Senator Stephen Bradford are right. We shouldn't have to get back anything. I pulled myself up by my own bootstraps.
Did you march in the Civil Rights Movement, ma'am?
No.
Did your ancestry march in the Civil Rights Movement, ma'am?
No.
How'd you get your job? Seriously, how did she get her job? Sometimes things are so good, you gotta hear it again.
Make this cost of the harms, make this minuscule based on the debt and harm that was created through slavery.
Economists, consultants from the task force reported the total amount could be as much as $800 billion. It is fundamentally unfair to force these people to pay for this, and because of that, I will be opposing today.
Yeah, I just want to thank our Republican colleagues for coming to committee today. After boycotting the previous committee, it's really important to know on the record and formally oppose reparations, so I want to thank them for doing so.
We were at every single moment of every single hearing. The task force did not, and the comments of the task force did not say that the state should pay $800 billion. The task force economists said that the state of California stole $800 billion in wealth from the descendants. That is what the state stole from us. Now it's up to this legislature to decide what the bill is, but your comments are incorrect.
So I wanted to play that again because how did Sanchez get the job to vote when I guarantee if she took an oath, she's going to tell you she did not read the 1,065-page task force recommendations book. She's going to tell you that, or maybe she'll lie. What? Seriously, how did she get the job? To be that erroneous and to brag about being erroneous with impunity. Who gave her the job? It was mentioned that there were only 2 African Americans that were standing there or sitting there deciding what happens with the votes in the assembly. I do want to appreciate the Honorable Robert Rivas, the speaker, and he also spoke very eloquently about supporting the Senator Bradford. But I wonder how Sanchez got the job when she's so wrong. Just as lazy and incorrect, but it didn't stop her from getting the job. And when you think about reparations, how many times do people who are like her, who are ignorant, sit in a position of power and say, oh, you don't deserve no reparations? I pulled myself up by my bootstraps, so should you. That's just, to me, that's just wrong. I don't know how she got the job. So much to do an audit on her. Came to a red wedding and nobody accepted the roses. That's just my story and I'm taking with it. I gotta say, I know we're gonna get into some NBA basketball, but I love doing my part on reparations because I know that a mind is a troubled thing to waste. And if we don't talk about these things, then oftentimes it's up to people like Sanchez. And obviously you can tell she doesn't read. She doesn't read. She's either ignorant or she's lying. Which one is it? I guarantee you, if she took an oath, she did not read the Reparations Task Force opinions. But just going to blatantly stand against Senator Bradford, the inimitable Dr. Shirley Repper, Secretary of State of California, and the Governor Gavin Newsom, how's she going to have the position of power? That's wrong in itself, and that in itself deserves an investigation. How is she on the payroll of the state of California? That's embarrassing for the state of California to have her deciding who's going to get a bill passed. She's ignorant. Well, that's my story, and I'm taking it with it. You heard it with your own 2 eyes. Own 2 eyes? Yes, sometimes you got to see things, and you got to hear things also. But I got to do what I always do. I want to make sure, after hearing Sanchez in the Red Wedding speak at the Assembly and how wrong she is on reparations, I want to do something that makes you listen with your own 2 eyes and ears. Listen to an attorney, Reva Martin, talk about reparations. I beg your pardon. I'm gonna, after Miss Sanchez spoke, and I wonder how she got her job. Really, no matter what ethnic group you belong to, how does someone sit at the Assembly and say, I'm an immigrant, and
and I don't believe in reparations.
If you're an immigrant and you don't believe in reparations, what are civil rights? Without civil rights being passed, you wouldn't even have a job, ma'am.
About handouts and how these right-wing memes, these Republican memes, have infiltrated the Democratic debate.
Red wedding.
To suggest that, ending welfare as we know it, all those kind of things are somehow, great and noble things, when we're not dealing with the underlying problem, which is that there's no economic opportunity there because of insane trade policies and because of Reaganomics. And Martin Luther King spoke to this. Jim and Shane, this is clip number 4. Martin Luther King spoke to this sometime back in the early 60s. And I thought this was a really interesting quote. Here he is.
Before Dr. King speaks, I want you to think of the comments that were embarrassingly spoken by Sanchez at the California State Assembly yesterday. How dare she? How did she get the job?
The problem. At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps.
Sanchez.
And this is what we are faced with. And this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
From his speech, The Two Nations of Black America. And it's absolutely brilliant. And the next time some white person talks about, well, I pulled myself up by my bootstraps and my family did too, especially the Bundy boys. I mean, here's Martin Luther King, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., talking about how basically whites stole the West from the Indians with the complete, and didn't just steal it. I mean, murdered them he murdered the Indians in the process, and did not give any of these benefits to African Americans.
Sanchez.
For 100 years in this country.
Sanchez.
It's a strong case for reparations or some variation on it, for rebuilding our cities, for doing right after having done wrong for so many centuries.
Sanchez.
It is a very, very strong case for that.
I'm telling you, when you think about reparations and you think about what Sanchez talked about yesterday, which side do you stand on? What side do you stand on? Because Sanchez, I don't know how she got her job. I guess she doesn't even know who Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is in history. Because Dr. King, when he led those marches in the South, it was for people like her to have a seat at this state assembly. And then she's going to say no to what Dr. King stood for. Good people. You people. How does she get a job? I'm serious about that. When you hear about African Americans descended as a child of slavery looking for civil rights, and then you have someone like her, how does she get the position to say what happens to people based on a vote? She's not even qualified. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I'm gonna do something before I get into some NBA basketball, because I want to make sure that I pay homage to what happened in this assembly yesterday. It's so important. I appreciate C-Jack. I appreciate California Senator Stephen Bradford. I appreciate. I'm I'm so proud of this show. It's a blog talk show. Comes on every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to 11 a.m. It's called One Gong, hosted by Marvell and Tim. And then it has a lot of contributors call in. Double O calls in. She has her own economics awareness talk show called Let's Eat on Access Sacramento. It has people that call in and they give their points. Double R, really do appreciate you because you're about facts. Chris Lodge working with the CJAC. Kim Mims, so many other people that are just wonderful and talking about things that happen that affect all people. And with Big C Sports, I want to make sure that I just give I want to give them all praise. I say give them praise. And that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Now I know when it comes to sticking with stories, and everybody has their own thoughts about what stories are important. I got something I gotta talk about because I'm working on my own commercial, and some people don't appreciate it. They say, Big C, you talk too fast. I say too fast, and then some people say, Big C, you talk too slow. I say too slow. I'm trying to talk faster. I'm trying to get it all in because my show's only an hour. You try to do anything for an hour, you got to be in good shape to do anything for an hour. If that makes sense to you. I want to say, with the best of my ability, I'm going to ask you to pay attention because I may have a quiz. Unlike the lady in the red wedding, Miss Sanchez, you can understand what I'm going to say. A guide to protect, preserve, and transfer wealth. Resource Development Consulting Incorporated, in conjunction with the law office of Scott Thibodeau and the law office of Attorney George Jones. The Missing Link, Long-Term Care, Solutions by the Book, over 3 decades of experience helping seniors get their benefits. Medicare and You, Taking Care of Tomorrow. In California, it's called Medi-Cal. Other places, it's called Medicaid. Not only that, your family and spouse can avoid the spend down for nursing home costs. You can find out your options, 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624. Now, for people who say, Big C, you talk too fast, I'm going to try to slow it down. 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. Enough! I can't talk that fast. Some people say that's too fast. I gotta speak at the rate that God made me. 800-772-8624. 800-772-8624. I promise to you to specialize and navigate and maximize long-term care benefits, protection of your assets without a spend down. Unlike Sanchez, she want to make sure you get none of your assets. She voted no on everything, except for that red dress that she wore that was a little bit too tight. And I'm not being cynical. Some people say men wear too tight of things, but sometimes if you're too tight, it cuts off your circulation. Protection of your assets. What Sanchez wanted to make sure that all descendants of child slavery get no asset protection. How she vote no on reparations bill when the great Dr. Martin Luther King spoke about reparations? The inimitable California Senator Stephen Bradford talks about reparations. The inimitable Dr. Shirley Weber, Secretary of the State of California, her state helped put together the task force with 9 esteemed members. And Governor Gavin Newsom mandated that they come up with a study. And then someone who doesn't even do her homework, she stands there or sits there in a red dress and says, I don't believe in no reparations. How'd you get the job, man? Seriously, who wrote her resume? Because she passed on the paper bag test, I guarantee that. Paper bag test, what's that mean? Google it. She knows she passed on the paper bag test. What a shame. Protection of your assets without the spend down. There's no spend down in California now. All paperwork and communication with all government agencies are handled by a staff of entitlement specialists. Ongoing consulting to provide updates as necessary. Benefits covering skilled nursing facilities, prescriptions, and medical equipment costs. You know anybody that's ever dealt with skilled nursing facilities? You know anyone who's ever dealt with medical prescriptions? Do you know anyone who's ever dealt with medical equipment costs? And more. Not only that, protection of your assets, including your home, thereby allowing you to leave a legacy for your family. But when Miss Sanchez says, we don't believe in no reparations,
and we don't support Senate Bill 1050, we don't support Senate Bill 1331, and we don't support Senate Bill 1403.
She don't care about protection of her assets. But she's willing to take the assets that were given to her by the Civil Rights Act that was passed by Lyndon Baines Johnson. Oh, she benefits from that. She thanks black people for marching. Now she sits her butt in the assembly saying no to everything that's good and decent for people. You know, honorable people, like the Just Act. Does she even know what the Just Act is? If you are pro-Just Act, J-U-S-T, Google it. J-U-S-T. If you're pro-Just Act, how dare you anti-reparations? That's just my story and I'm sticking with it. You gotta be passionate because some of these people think we're so stupid because we can't stand up, we can't wait to stand up for the tip-off. Touchdown! Over! 3-point play! Old man Willie, he's going all the way. How did she get the job? He's not even trying to help us get our assets back! Protection of your assets! We do that with the RDC team, avoiding the nightmare of debt bought by the government's estate recovery program called probate can take between 10 to 40% of your assets! Which Sanchez would be standing in line to make sure that nobody takes her assets! Because the asset to her is the civil rights bills that were passed because the black people marched in this country and other decent people. But she didn't march. But she sits her assets in the assembly and votes no on everything that benefits descendants of child slavery. No! But thank you for marching for civil rights. Because that helps me get my assets in the state assembly. What a shame. A one-time processing fee versus monthly insurance premiums for the rest of your life. I'm not done yet. Asset protection. Protection insurance coverage required by law, general liability, workers' compensation, lawyers specializing in living trust, Medicaid or Medi-Cal planning for long-term care. Avoid probate. Life insurance, veterans benefits, aid and attendance, pre-planning and avoid the look-back period. What about fixed assets, Big C? Well, bank account, checking account, savings account, money market accounts, certificates of deposit, life insurance with cash values, fixed index annuities. What about variable assets, Big C? Well, I'm glad you asked, because Ms. Sanchez want to make sure you don't have any assets, especially if you're descendants of chattel slavery. Real estate, qualified money, IRA, 401k, and other investments. When we talk about real estate, Senate Bill 1050 and Assembly Bill 1050 for eminent domain, they were taking assets from black Americans, descendants of chattel slavery. And Ms. Sanchez says that's okay, because she benefited from the civil rights movement that was led by black Americans. And she sits her assets in the state assembly and says no to everything. How'd she get the job? Seriously. Avoid capital gains with the trust. Let's say you buy a house for $100,000, and within a year it appreciates to $1 million. Well, that's a $900,000 capital gains. With a trust, you avoid that. But you can't avoid people like Ms. Sanchez making sure we don't get our assets back. But she's not going to give up that seat unless she's voted out of office. And she should be. How'd she get the job? Over 3 decades of experience. Attention business owners, find out your other options to protect what your insurance does not cover. 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624. When you do, you want to give that some praise. I say give it praise, 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 because we all need somebody to lean on. And that's my story, and I'm going to stick with it. I got to tell you something. When it comes to what you do with people, you want to make sure you get the endorsements, and I have endorsements too. Just like the state of California, the Assembly member Sanchez, how did she get her job? Really? Ignorant. And braggadocious about it. Who endorsed her? I'll tell you who endorsed the RDC team. Attorney George Jones, chairman of the California Black Chamber of Commerce, California Black Chamber of Commerce Foundation. Oh, he supports reparations. Mr. Leon Woods, resource development consultant, works with many of the top lobbyists in California. Oh, he supports reparations. He also supports the RDC team. We have Miss Cheryl Brown, beautiful, intelligent African-American woman, the chair of the California Commission on Aging. She supports reparations. I know that may hurt the feelings of Ms. Sanchez, that descendants of child slavery. We want repair, like the Just Act, repair for descendants of Holocaust. I'm sure Ms. Sanchez would have voted that down too, but she didn't. Ask her if she believes in the Just Act. She probably doesn't even know what it means, because she's an unjust person. You heard it with your own 2 ears. I played it for you 4 times. We have Mr. Ray De La Cruz, the CEO of Resource Development Consulting, had the endorsement of the late CalPERS top legal mind, the late Robert Carlson. He endorsed the RDC team. Mr. Alex De La Cruz, the founder of American Veterans Benefits, he endorsed the RDC team. Not only that, we have Charlton Curry, co-chair of the National Black Wall Street Project, Resource Development Consultant, owner of Big C Sports Podcast. I endorse the RDC team, and I endorse reparations. Not only that, we have Double O, Pat Committee for the National Black Wall Street Project, consultant for the RDC team, has her own economics awareness talk show called Let's Eat. You can hear it on Access Sacramento. She endorses the RDC team, and she endorses reparations. She filmed it yesterday at the State Assembly. And so it's passionate for me. If you don't know me by now, if you don't know, you will never know me. Ooh. Don't turn off the radio. Don't turn off your phone. I don't mean to break somebody's microphone. I probably already did, but I ain't too proud to beg for your forgiveness. And I don't even know who sang that song. I think it wasn't me. It wasn't me. That's obvious. It wasn't me, but I do want to say, I do appreciate having fun with Big C Sports Podcast. I want to just say it's important to me to just say that we all deserve what we vote for, and how I want to say I'm very proud of the Assembly, California State Assembly Legislature of yesterday, and the Honorable Robert Rivas, who stood side by side, even have a lacrimose speech where he supported Senator Bradford and believes in reparations are necessary. And even Ms. Sanchez with the Red Wedding, she opposed him too. She opposed the people that made it possible for her. Me like the strike! I gotta tell you, my show is always from the heart, and that's what I love about doing Big C Sports Podcast. But I'm gonna also get into some things that are near and dear to me as a person that loves sports, and everybody has their own thoughts. I know, I gotta just say, NBA basketball is fantastic. And we have the Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks, they play tonight. But I want to tell you, the basketball world, in fact, the basketball universe, they lost a legend in Jerry West. He passed away at 86 years old. 86 is a good life, but it could have been a better life. I just want to play some thoughts on Jerry West.
Just the All-NBAs. He didn't win an MVP, but he might be the best player to have never won an MVP. Jerry West was decorated as a front office executive for the Lakers. He built them. He made sure that Magic Johnson had running mates. He made sure that Shaquille O'Neal had a running mate out of high school named Kobe Bryant. His fingerprints were all on the league, all on the Lakers, and then on the Memphis Grizzlies and Golden State Warriors, who became dynastic when he was an advisor. He told them he would quit if they traded a young Klay Thompson for Kevin Love. That one decision might have turned the Warriors into champions. Jerry West was tortured by losing to the Celtics, even though he won a Finals MVP when they lost in a 7-game series. Jerry West was someone who the media loved to talk to. He trusted us, we trusted him. Jerry West is one of those figures now, with Bill Walton passing away, with Bill Russell passing away, another figure of institutional knowledge gone away. Jerry West is 86 years old and was still an advisor for the LA Clippers most recently this season. It didn't seem like we would reach a point where Jerry West would leave us because the logo has always been a part of the NBA. Hopefully the logo doesn't change, and hopefully we don't forget the lasting impact Jerry West has had on this NBA.
So you get to hear about great people in life, and I don't know anyone that said anything negative about Jerry West. And Jerry West, 86 years old, he was born in Jim Crow. But Jerry West opened so many doors as a Caucasian man for African Americans. Not only as a teammate, but an ambassador for NBA basketball. Unlike Miss Sanchez, that's anti-everything beautiful and black, all life came from the African continent. Google Dr. Lee King Greg Remendo and realize that when you know where you come from, maybe you respect your root a little better. All life came from the African continent, according to Dr. Lee King and Greg Remendo. So Jerry West, the inspiration of the NBA's logo, he passed away peacefully at his home at the age of 86 years old. The Los Angeles Clippers announced that today. And one of basketball's most accomplished contributors, the late Jerry West, he was a staple of the sport across 8 decades. 8! Winning 9 championships as a player, a scout, a coach, an executive, and consultant. He was an architect of the Los Angeles Lakers. 10 titles in the 1980s and the 2000s, and advisor to the dynastic Golden State Warriors. And then long before Jerry West established himself as arguably the greatest general manager in NBA history, he was among the league's first superstars, a legend of West Virginia High School and college basketball and co-champion. Think about it. He was a co-captain of the 1960 United States Olympic men's basketball team. West made the All-Star game each season of a 14-year career, decorated with 12 All-NBA selections and 5 All-Defensive appearances, all for the Los Angeles Lakers. He won a single title and 9 trips to the NBA Finals, heartbreakingly losing 6 titles in the series to the great late Bill Russell and the Boston Celtics. And then West's final MVP award in 1969 remains the only time that the honor was bestowed upon a member of the losing team. He averaged 38 points per game. 38! I'll say it again, he averaged 38 points a game in a 7-game loss to the Celtics. It's amazing when you think about it. He took a loss harder than any player you've ever known, said the late legendary Lakers broadcaster Chick Hearn once said of West. He would sit by himself and stare into space. A loss just ripped his guts out. The trailblazing scoring guard and relentless competitor, West was a deadly shooter before the invention of the three-point line. And his most famous shot came in the form of a 60-foot buzzer beater that sent Game 3 of the 1970 NBA Finals into overtime against the New York Knicks. He joined the late, great Wilt Chamberlain and Oscar Robertson as the league's first 25,000-point scorers. The late Jerry West, he averaged 27 points, think about this, 27 points, 6.7 rebounds in his career. Isn't that something? He was a basketball genius, a defining figure in our league for more than 60 years. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver said he distinguished himself not only as an NBA champion and an all-star in all 14 of his playing seasons, at the same time, a consummate competitor who embraced the biggest moments. He was the league's first Finals MVP and made rising to the occasion a signature of his game. When you think about what a lot of people are saying about the late Jerry West, one thing that I want to say, his pursuit of perfection led him to the unprecedented success as a decision maker in NBA front offices, twice winning Executive of the Year honors, first as a scout and then as a GM. He helped construct the 5-time champion Showtime, the LA Lakers of the 1980s, before leaving the Lakers in 2000. It was always like Magic Johnson inbounds to Kareem. Kareem with the side hook. For 3, yes! In your life, get the hole! Kareem only shot 1 3-point basket in his career. Only one time in his career did he shoot a 3-point basket, Kareem did. But there's something about Kareem, Magic Johnson, Showtime, James Worthy, Byron Scott, those good old boys from the Lakers, Jamal Wilkes back in the day. And then not only that, you think about before leaving the Lakers in 2000, West signed the great Shaquille O'Neal and then traded for the great Kobe Bryant. His draft rights laid the foundation for another 5 titles from 2000 to 2010. Jerry West spent 5 seasons running the Memphis Grizzlies before retiring. And as a full-time shot caller at the age of 69, in 2007. He joined the Golden State Warriors as an executive board member in 2011, famously opposing a would-be 2014 trade of Klay Thompson for Kevin Love, and then recruiting Kevin Durant in the 2016 offseason. So Jerry West left the Warriors after the second of their 4 championships in 2017, and he joined the LA Clippers in the same capacity, contributing to the recruitment of the great Kawhi Leonard and trade for the great Paul George in 2019. Not only that, Jerry West will be inducted into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame in October as a contributor, making him the first person to be enshrined as both a player and a contributor. Not only that, he was also awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2019. Obviously, a great icon for the basketball world. The Maverick center Daniel Gafford said Wednesday at Dallas shoot-around before Game 3 tonight of the 2024 NBA Finals, you know, you never really just knew too much about him, but knew what it meant to be a part of him in the game of basketball. The logos on the jersey of every NBA basketball player to honor the late, great Jerry West. May he rest in peace, will always be in remembrance of somebody that just had so much of an impact on the world of basketball and West's personal life, not as charmed as his basketball career. The son of a West Virginia coal mine electrician, he endured a troubled childhood haunted by some issues that happened with his brother in 1951 in the Korean War. West served as a mental health advocate in his later years, sharing his lifelong battle with depression in a New York Times best-selling 2011 memoir titled West by West, My Charm-Tormented Life. When you think about him as a great player and great athlete, had the respect of a lot of players, black and white, the greatest honor a man can have is the respect and friendship of his peers. You have that and more than any man. That's told by the great late Bill Russell. The forum crowd on Jerry West night in 1972, Jerry, you are in every sense of the word, truly a champion. If I could have one wish granted, I would wish that you would be always happy in life. One of Jerry West's 5 children, Jerry, is currently a professional scout for the Detroit Pistons. There's so many people that had a reaction to the passing of Jerry West. Magic Johnson, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, and a lot of other great players. They said that he was just a great man. A lot of people appreciated what Jerry West did and what he meant. Not just as a basketball player, but as a human being and a man that did a lot for people on and off the court. I want to give him praise. Give him praise, praise, praise in your life. Get the hole. Thoughts and prayers to the family of the late Jerry West. I'm going to close tonight and talking about some things that are happening in the NBA. You know, get the hole in your life for 3, yes! Tonight, we got Game 3. I like to say we got Game 3, we have Game 3, but I like to speak with my Ebonics at also at times because the Ebonics can be a terrible thing to waste that time. That's my story and I'm sticking with it. I want to say the Boston Celtics take on the Dallas Mavericks tonight, already underway, and in the state of Texas, as the NBA mourns the loss of Jerry West. I'm sure players will try to play the very best basketball they can. 2024 NBA Finals, primetime affair between the Dallas Mavericks and the great Kyrie Irving, and the great Luka Doncic will take on the great Jason Tatum and the great Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics. It's Game 3 underway for Wednesday. The Celtics are looking to go up 3 games to none for the second straight series, while Dallas is down 0 games to 2 for the first time in the 2024 NBA playoffs. Now, the Celtics, they've beaten the Mavericks 4 times in a row, dating back to the regular season. However, the great Kristaps Porzingis is not going to play, has a lower leg issue. He has a hitch in his giddy up. So tip-off already happened at 5:30 p.m. West Coast time, and then 8:30 p.m. Eastern time at the American Airlines Center in Dallas. The Mavs are 2.5-point favorites, and the Celtics and Mavericks odds, I'm telling you, now, this is when the 800 gambler steps in. The over-under is 213.5. 213.5. You got to keep in mind, Dallas hasn't even scored 100 points in the first 2 games. So how are they going to get over 100 points at home? Kristaps Porzingis is not playing. Kyrie's going to have a better game tonight. Luka's been doing his thing. Dallas has to just play better basketball. Because if Boston gets tonight, I think they're going to win this series anyway. I was saying 6 games going into it. If Porzingis is out, they may go 6 games. But if Porzingis plays, it's probably going to be 5 games to 1, or 4 games to 1. It'll be 5-game series. That's just my story. No matter who you go for, 800 gambler, I don't bet on sports. I know a lot of people do. They don't mind taking the money out of their pocket and giving it to a vacuum cleaner. That's funny. They say the dirt comes out in the wash, but I don't believe in giving vacuum cleaners my money. But be careful out there for you guys who want to bet 800 gambler. Those casinos make a lot of money for a reason. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, as I always tell you, I really do appreciate being a part of the State Assembly yesterday. I was able to speak on behalf of the National Black Wall Street Project and also Big C Sports. I support the bills that were proposed, 1331 for reparations, 1403 for qualifying for reparations, and 1050 for eminent domain. And I support California Senator Stephen Bradford, and he was eloquent speaking about it. And I hope that more people can do the same thing and champion it. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it, as I always tell you. If you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink. Because mothers against drunk drivers are mad, and fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. You can call Uber, you can call Lyft, but don't let someone you love start drinking and get behind the wheel of the car and start driving the life you say may be your own or someone you love. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, as I always tell you, my beautiful mother always says there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. No man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that crap on their own. If somebody's slapping you, I only slapped you because you made me mad. Call 911. If somebody's kicking you, I only kicked you because you made me mad. Call 911. If someone's choking you out, I only choked you because you made me mad. Call 911. No man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that crap on their own. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I love paying homage to my beautiful family legacy. On my mother's side, my great-grandparents called them Mama and Pop. And my grandparents, Muddy and Hezekiah. And then I can always depend on my mama, the most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. Go to the Head Start program, a food program, and also coached all boys, a Little League baseball team to the championship of the universe. The best person I ever met in my life, always saying rise and shine. I love my mama with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. On my father's side, my grandparents, Albert Curry and Alberta Curry, they were pastors. They had 3 churches. They also owned 2 gas stations in Oakland, and I really do appreciate them. I was 8 years old walking through a hallway, and about 10 o'clock at night, I felt somebody touch me in my forehead, and she said, "What are you doing, young man, going to get some more cookies?" I said, what are you doing now, Grandma? It's 10 o'clock at night. You normally go to bed at 8:30. She said, "What are you doing, young man, going to get some more cookies?" I said, "Cookies are baby crap. That's what I'm doing, Grandma. I'm going to get my reparations." But the cookies wouldn't hurt. She said, "There's something about your voice. I love hearing you speak." And now Big C Sports Podcast is streaming on 4 TV platforms and 29 TV podcast applications. Love my grandma with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful father, former United States Air Force fighter, pilot, chief mechanic, always making sure planes can fly high. So we can all stay safe at night. Always saying, develop your mind to the highest extent. Love my dad with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful brother Todd, without that boxing voice, sound like thunder and lightning when Todd is big. Always saying, go forward. A voracious reader, I love Todd with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful daughter Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. College graduate, 2 degrees with honors in 3.5 years from a major university. Daisy, you can be anything you want to be. Always trust God. Isaiah 51:17. I pray that no weapon formed against you will prosper. Daisy helped me set up the very first interview for Big C Sports Podcast back at Salem Media. It became the first time in the history of the United States that NFL Monday Night Football started broadcasting live on the Wall Street Business Network. Normally they would go to ESPN, but because of 2 black men in the crew, they started going to us. They called us the Dream Team. But you know what? Shenanigans set up because somebody like Sanchez said, "I'll not tolerate them being so great." That's why she did with it. She didn't try to protect her assets. Happened with us at Salem Media. But now Big C Sports responds because you either leave, follow, or get out of the way. And we decided to leave. And then Daisy, I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. College graduate, very smart, erudite, a good man. Michael helped me save trees. I used to always get the newspapers and look up stats for Big C Sports Podcast. And one day Malcolm said, "Dad, why don't you just Google it?" And the light bulb went off. I've been Googling ever since. Now on 29 podcast platforms, 304 TV platforms. Malcolm always prayed Isaiah 50:17 that no weapon formed against him will prosper. One day Malcolm said, Dad, you want to see Big C Sports on TV? I said, sure. He said, pick up the remote, aim it at the TV and say, play Big C Sports. You'll see your show come up. Well, that's before we went on the air. Now it's streaming on 4 TV platforms, Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Malcolm, I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. You can be anything you want to be. Always trust God. I love you with everything I have. And then Big C, with all that wealth of knowledge over the years, always saying you got to believe, you got to believe, you got to believe, saying let's get ready to rumble. I love saying, welcome to the show. Let's be nominated. Big C Sports Podcast. I have no script. I have no dream teleprompters. I have no producer in my ear. If you don't know me by now, if you don't know me, you will never, ever, ever know me. Ooh, hey, look, we want the real person that sings that song, even though I can't remember who he is. But I was told I do my show with a gland in the brain called the pineal gland. The ancients call it the third eye. You see, that's how you talk to God. And that's why I scream so loud. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. As I always say, you're back, my prophet man. Back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He's known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee, rumble, young man, rumble. He said, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali said, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat. And every time I listen to Big C Sports, I want to chap and reparations now. Reparations forever. And then I look like a butterfly, and I sing like a bee. There's only one more thing to do. After we stand up on the tip-off, you got to chap and reparations now. Reparations forever. Come on, you hear it loud and foreign words. After Kentucky Derby, you got to chap and reparations now. Reparations forever. Come on, you shout it louder at the Super Bowl. You got to chap and stand for the universe to hear. Reparations now. Reparations forever. I thank you, I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a super fantastic day.